The following is a presentation of the Black Hollywood Live Network, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. Hollywood redefined. From Los Angeles, California, streaming live thanks to Akamai Technologies, this is Black Hollywood Live, Breaking Into, featuring in-depth interviews with today's most influential entertainment figures, highlighting their tips, tricks, and techniques on breaking into the entertainment industry.
You're listening to Black Hollywood Live.
And now, the host of Black Hollywood Live, Breaking Into.
Hey, there we go.
Where you at? Where you at?
Turn it up, turn it up.
Hey,
Can you hear
welcome.
me?
Welcome. This is Breaking Into, a special episode today. This is Breaking Into Conscious Filmmaking. Yes, conscious filmmaking. As you many of you guys know, my motto is lifting each other up, sharing knowledge, and paying it forward. And in this episode, we're going to do all three. I'm James Jr., your host. You can follow me on Twitter at BlackHopeLA, of course, with the hashtag Breaking Into. And then, of course, we have the Facebook page, Breaking Into also. I want to welcome two people who are involved with this movie that I can't wait to see, and it speaks to me personally. It's called Can You Dig This? And we're going to show you a clip a little later. But the two guests I have with me, first I have the director.
Hi.
She's also an actress and dancer, too.
It's true.
Delila Vallot.
And a
Yes.
karate master.
A karate master. You're right, karate master. That's
Ninja.
right.
Ron better watch out.
Ninja.
Okay.
He's on wheels
It's-
right
it's-
now. There's a lot of force in this elbow.
Woo, I love it.
And they're bony.
And the gentleman next to her is someone that my cousin Bobby's a big fan of yours. Actually, she was like, "Are you gonna have him on your show?" He is the gangster gardener. I've also heard gorilla gangster gardener. I've heard all kinds of names for it. Well, I mean, good names.
Renegade Gardner. But wait, let's back up. Okay, this is about Black Hollywood.
Yes.
And the show is called
Breaking
Breaking Into.
Yes.
I mean, let's look at that for a minute.
Okay.
Black people, and
Yes.
then you got breaking into.
Yes.
Okay, we'll just.
Ooh, we can talk about that. we can totally talk about that. Oh, Ron Finley, ladies and gentlemen.
Challenging the system.
I love that. She's a great chat. Please sound system. I'm not some young kid. I've been around a long time. I'm a grandfather of three. It's crazy.
Oh, crazy.
Yeah. So welcome to my show.
Thank
In
you.
all
for
in all
having us.
seriousness,
No,
welcome
for
to
sure,
my
for
show.
sure. Thank you.
I want to tell you a quick story. Why this is really personal for me. When those of you out there may not know, when I do my bookings for my show, some are given to me, brought to my attention. Others I get on my own. Oh, there we go. And you guys were brought to my attention. And when I saw in the email South Central Los Angeles, and I saw urban gardening, I was in. Because I grew up in South Central. I currently live there. I'm back there again, and I'm an urban gardener.
Really?
I completely believe in beautifying and eating my own food and plants and flowers. But it stems from my grandmother Lot, who lived 10 blocks away from me. And when I was growing up, she had a garden. And I learned what turnips were, and radishes, and beets, and figs, and pears, and how to tend to them, how to eat healthy. And my cousins and I recently had this talk about how many of us go to farmers markets to get our stuff. And how we eat, the way we look at things. Many of us have gardens of our own, and we still live in the hood. And it was because of her. And so when I saw this come across my desk, it really affected me. It really did. And I can't wait to see this film.
I'm glad to hear that. I'm glad it did. It's affected people all over the world, not just in the United States. So people need to know about people like you, that we as African Americans don't have the reverence for the soil that we should. We don't understand that that's where the gold comes from. We have this legacy of slavery, so people don't want to touch soil. And I'm like, no, dude, how you think he got that house on the hill? It wasn't from you. It was from the soil. Anybody could have worked it. It just chose you. Now just imagine for 1 minute, 1 second that you own the soil, what you can do, because that's where life springs from. And people don't, so what we literally have to do is change culture. That's what we're culture changers, because we gotta go back and let people know, no, you can't. You have to change your life, and it starts with what you eat. Because I like to say, they taught us you are what you eat, and that's not true. You are what you eats. Okay? Plants eat soil. That's where their nutrients come from. So imagine if this soil is devoid of all kinds of nutrients because it's been sprayed and it's tainted and it has all kinds of, junk in it. What do you think that plant's gonna be? And that's what you're taking into you. You're eating something that's alive. You're alive. I mean, we're like a leaf. We decompose just like a leaf, and people forget about that.
I tell folks when I'm out in the sun, I feel good.
Oh no doubt.
Because I have a busy life and I don't really have days off. I don't know what that is, but I have moments off.
Right.
And I found that when I'm having a stressful day and I'm at home, and I've had 8,000 emails, and mom is calling me about why I haven't been over in 2 days, and everything's going on, I go outside and I tend to my tomatoes, my sweet potatoes, and I feel just an hour of that. I feel so much better.
It becomes your solace. I tell people you don't need meds. You need a garden.
That's right.
Okay, because that's your medication right there.
It is.
They've taken that from us, especially in the hood, as you well know, being in South Central. There's no other place that we can drive around in the city and you see used wheelchairs on the side of the street, and all that represents to me is somebody that lost their legs, and then they died, and now here's another space for somebody else to die, and it has a new battery. So
like that.
people don't
Like that.
people don't look at it that deep. You don't see wheelchairs on the side of the street for used cars in Brentwood.
No, we don't.
Pasadena.
No.
So
No.
it's just us because there's a proliferation of drugstores, legal drugstores everywhere, and then alcohol.
Well, I love that your thing about how you like your garden to quote unquote face the street.
Yeah.
I love that. Because there are spaces, on sidewalk, there's spaces where it's like, there's just nothing, it's just dead.
They call them parkways, and we,
Parkways,
actually managed to get the law changed in LA where you can now use that space to plant
good.
food because it was the ordinance was against that before. So the thing with me is it's great. Yeah, we got to change, but does anybody know? Do we have billboards? Do we have an agenda to put it out there? Do we have workshops to show people that the city putting on workshops? Hey, this is how you can remediate this soil. And it's like you said, it's not just about food. I tell people, it's like, how much food can you grow here? I'm like, I really don't care. Okay, I don't measure, I don't weigh. It's about people. First and foremost, it ain't about food is there, but it's about people first, and that's about changing culture and changing lives. And yes, I do have my garden facing the street. So, and it's what you stated earlier. It's for beautification of our neighborhoods. What we can make these strips look like. We can create our own ecosystems. We can bring insects. We can bring pollinators, just by planting something, and it just happens because they need it. They don't have nowhere really in the hood to. I got dragonflies. when's the last time?
I had a few also recently too. I was like, where'd that come from?
Yeah, when's the last time you seen a dragonfly
Right.
in the hood? So, and I got these gangster bees, man, that just came up. No, my bees is gangster.
Okay.
And Delila, these gangs.
You seen them, girl?
No, these,
Across the way.
Yeah, you're like,
these bees don't play the radio, the piano, the telephone. These bees don't play. All right?
Wow, they're pollinating.
Yeah, but they came over and like, yo, we like this spot, dude.
And we need bees. People don't realize that we do need bees.
Bad.
We need them really bad, you guys. We really need bees to continue our system. So how did this subject come to your forefront, to your orbit?
Well, I have a interracial upbringing. I have a white mom from Hollywood and a black dad from South LA. And I knew my dad up until I was about 9.
Okay.
And spent a lot of time in South LA and definitely noticed the disparity between the two areas from a child's perspective.
Okay.
I didn't know exactly what that was, but and then years later found out that my father was sick, so South LA kind of came back into my my world, and I wanted to go back and explore the area, and also the idea that, like, in America we talk about pulling yourself up by your own bootstraps, and the question for me is, how can you do that if you don't have the resources? Is it possible without resources to pull yourself up by your own bootstraps?
Right.
And I'm all about, being self-studied, and I didn't go to film school, but I made a film. It's like, reach out for whatever it is that you can and get things done. So my mind was already in that, and then I'm part of the zeitgeist like everybody else is. Everybody loves, natural food and all that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm part of that too. And then friends who are producers at Delila Films saw Ron Finley's article in the LA Times.
Okay, yeah.
And a discussion arose, and he's got this great diatribe, you know, planning your
urban
own
garden
well,
movement.
I'm going to say it
Love
in my
it.
school teacher voice. Planting your own vegetables is like printing your own money. He can say
like
it
that.
better, but you know,
Yeah,
stuff like
right.
that. And I'm thinking, this is amazing. Is this real? You know, I mean, I like the idea, I
Yeah.
really do, and I'm all
Yeah.
behind it. But like, let me see firsthand, and so that's where I got the impetus and was passionate about the idea right off the bat.
And they stalked me.
They stalked you? Wore you down, didn't they?
I mean, they would come over in the middle of the night, you know, send women. I had one that they put pole dancers outside my door one day. It was ridiculous, man. I'm like, this how you get down in Hollywood?
Apparently.
Right.
It worked. Obviously, it works.
It worked.
I think Ron had encountered some, you know, his internet fame and had a lot of Hollywood people after him, and I was
And
just
why not?
like
I
one
see
of
it.
them, like sort of the scary.
Oh, I see
kind of,
why. I
like,
totally see why.
people from Hollywood. Let's make a movie.
I see Don Cheadle playing you. Okay, I don't
Oh,
see
how
a
funny is
document.
that?
I'm
How
like,
funny is
would you
that?
please take your shoes for a walk, dude? I mean, really? Like, jeez.
So he was a hard. I mean, it was not easy.
Yeah.
No, it wasn't.
But I don't know what point. Actually, I've had in other interviews people say, "Well, when did that
Yeah.
happen?" That I think you looked at footage that I
Yeah,
shot.
yeah, no, that footage where you guys went out and you put you found people from my TED that not actual people from my TED, but people that I talk about in my head, TED, and I'm like, this is kind of brilliant.
How fun, okay.
Yeah, so I was all in after that, you
Yeah.
know, because I just thought that was a good concept, and I'd been approached with all kinds
I'm
of
sure.
concepts, and it was just, you know, people look at, you know, you, and they don't know who you are, and they don't know your history, and I've kicked people out of my place because they come in thinking, you know, that you want fame and
Right.
fortune. And it's
Everybody
like,
don't want that.
yeah, and you don't know where I've been, dude. You
Right.
don't know who I am. You don't know nothing. You don't know who my daddy was. But you come over here and you don't know me, and you see a black face, and you see me in the hood, so you just automatically think,
Yeah.
that money, and it ain't like that, dude. I got some money. You know
Right.
what I'm saying? But with the biggest thing that I have a code, and I also have integrity.
I love it.
You know, and they're not used to that.
Oh, no, they're not.
You know, so you know,
Yeah.
I'd say
that was a
some
big.
people have integrity in Hollywood. I'll say that.
There
in
are
my
a few.
school
I have
teacher voice
integrity.
as
I have
well.
integrity. I'm in Hollywood. I have integrity.
Yeah.
No, but I know what you mean.
No, not just Hollywood, just period.
Yeah, period.
You know, it's hard to find people with a code, man, right now.
That's very
And
true.
It's and that's, you know, that's one of the things that people that work for me, it's like you have to have a code. You have to stand for something, you know. And it ain't about money, you know. And once you get, as you know, you get to a certain age, and it ain't about money.
It sure
ain't,
isn't.
and it ain't about that. But can we build something without it? Hell no.
Right.
But that shouldn't be the impetus. That shouldn't be what wakes you up in the morning, you know. And I've always told my sons, operate from happy.
I like that. I
Because
like that.
if you go into a job every day, if you would the person you with every day, if you ain't happy, bounce. You know what I'm saying? It ain't to me. It ain't worth it, and that's real.
Yeah,
you know?
that
so
is.
so it is. It's you know, let your dream be your life, and your life be your dream.
You know what?
You know.
How you're saying that, like, it's almost not free, but one of the things that I learned from following you is just how almost free planting a seed is, and it's so easy. It's like just the you know, that it's not that hard, and
Right.
that the plant creates another seed, and then that.
No.
like,
I
that
love watching growth.
Thousands of more seeds.
I
Yeah.
love watching growth in my
Yeah,
plants.
it's
I feel-
crazy.
I feel so proud of myself.
Well, I mean, my whole thing is, you know, the watching growth. I mean, when you watch that, you're watching yourself, and that's what it's like. I know what you, like you stated, the soil seduces you. It becomes your solace.
That's good. That's a
You
good
know,
one. Yes.
and I've
Yes.
seen it happen to men, women, and children. So, yeah, it is. When I'm saying building something, Delila, you know, that's what I'm saying. Free. If you want, this whole you know, like I talk to these colleges and a lot of these kids, it's like, oh, money is evil. And I'm like, no, dude,
it's not evil.
money is not evil. You got some evil clowns with money, but money itself is not evil.
No.
And I tell them, try doing something with money and then try to do the same thing without and see how far you get. I said, who do you think came up with the concept, with that propaganda about money being evil? It was a bunch of rich ass people with a lot of money that said, money's evil. I'll hold that for you.
Yeah, no,
you
yeah.
don't need that. You know, and they don't get it. You know, the way we trade and everything now, it's capital. So my thing, if you want to change the world, get us all the money you possibly can, and then get 20% more than that, so you can see. I want to see the change in my life. Period.
Me too.
You know, I don't. And everybody's talking about the future now, dude.
It's now.
My
It's
future,
present.
yeah, my future is tomorrow.
Yeah.
It's 5 minutes from now.
Yeah, no, exactly.
You know, so I want to see it. I want to eat the piece of the cake that I bake. You know, so it ain't no 2020, 2050 with me. No, do this today. It's tomorrow. So I want to be a part, and I want to bathe in whatever I do. So that's why that's the street I come from.
It's funny because I'm a professional organizer and certified life coach in my other life, and I always tell my clients, a lot of times, and maybe you guys can expand on this for this, when you organize and straighten and clean your home, it can affect how you feel about yourself. And so you talk about that a little bit with the gardening. Same thing. It's like you're tending to your garden. You're making your outside beautiful. You're tending to, and you're giving. I mean, it gives you some kind of self-esteem and self. I mean, how do you feel about that?
Well, you made me think about Hawaii.
Okay.
And it's so beautiful there. And just not just South LA, just our cities in general. We've got this idea that they've got to be concrete and they've got to look a certain way. And you can't walk by and pick a blueberry, because we've made these rules, like water fountains are free, air is free, and our system has to look paved over and all of this stuff, and that we can create these other sort of realities with lots of trees and all those, that solace that you're talking about, that is almost free, and that could make us all feel like we're off in Hawaii. Like maybe we don't have to purchase the ticket to go there, we can create it here.
Yeah, I like that.
And that's kind of, it's funny because the color of my house and the, you know, it's like Jamaica or something, and people are like, where you think you live? Where you think this is Jamaica? I'm like, if I can't be there, at least I can act like I am. So the whole thing is to build beauty. I wanted people to be assaulted with color and smell and beauty and conversation and culture when they walk by my garden, and that's what happened. You know, you can walk past my place and there's butterflies and there's bees, and you go across the street and there's nothing. There's no life like that. So what I mean, and a lot of what's created there, I didn't know, you know, that's was gonna happen. Like making compost made me realize that nothing dies ever. I mean, when you look at compost, when you look at that alchemy, when you look at that science, when you look at that art, and you don't have to do nothing, and it's 150 degrees. You know, just turn. If it was dead, where the hell did this heat come from? Right. You know, so I mean, we should have the garden should be the school, not the other way around. We should have schools in gardens, not gardens in schools. You know, and because we've lost it, man. Especially one of the reasons I do this, man, is because I just saw our culture, you know, being decimated, being lost, being taken, being stolen, and being Shanghai. You know, I mean, it's just terrible because. And as a child, you don't even know that that's happening. You don't even.
You don't.
You're a child. You know, you're a kid. You don't know that you have a barcode on your neck that's readable by a prison scanner. You know, and what I do is kind of stealth. You know, people it's about food, but first it's about. It ain't about no damn hope. Okay. It's like hope. Oh, I hope. No, it's about opportunity. You can't do nothing with hope. But hope, right? You know, give these kids opportunity. You know they're gonna change the game. Give them a situation where they can learn something. Okay, where they can learn to do something. Where they can learn how to use their hands. Where instead of these schools that are teaching them, I've been in these schools. I've walked through the halls. And it's these neighborhoods, this culture that is by design. We didn't design this culture. It's been designed for us, but we we're laying right in the cut with this culture.
Because I was having this discussion with somebody, my Uber driver this morning, who was black, and I said, what happened to I always believe for myself, I walk around as a village.
Right.
That was our culture. Like, what happened to, what happened to our village mentality? That what I do affects you, what you do affects her, what she does affects him. Like, what happened to that? Why aren't we collectively, look how strong we would be together.
Yeah. Well, that's
a whole other show too, I'm sure, but
the
yes.
System, the system. I mean, when you think about the system, don't want you strong. I mean,
right.
just look who's benefiting from this.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, look at you don't see dialysis centers. We've created a medical industry, another medical industry, the dialysis center. You don't see them in Brentwood. You don't, no. But every city, if it's black or brown that I've gone to across the United States of America, there's a blinking light. Dialysis center.
That's true.
Instead of telling people, hey, dude, why don't you change your diet for like 7 days and see what happens?
Right.
Here, we're going to give you this.
I have a person in my life who hasn't had a vegetable in probably like 20 years.
Yeah. I got people that think watermelon grows on trees, and that's real. I'm not
real?
kidding. And you can't.
Oh my God.
But you can't blame them.
No,
you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Because you can't blame them on that kind of ignorance because they have not been exposed to it, and that's what we need. We need our culture. Food is a part of the culture.
Yes, it
it's
is.
Not the
Very
culture,
much.
but
Right.
it's a major part of the culture. And these kids need to be educated. I mean, because it's all to me, if you know how to grow food, until you know how to grow food, you ain't free. So we're enslaved, and I talk to very rich white people in these conferences running, and I tell them the same thing. If you don't have a hand in your food, you're a slave, period. Because they can kill you, they can starve you, or they can do what they do. They're killing us real slow with all this garbage that they're putting into our food.
I'll tell you, for me, just there's times when I go out there and I get my potatoes, and then I have my chives I'm growing and my sage I'm growing, and I make myself something, and it literally is from me.
Right.
There's a sense of pride in that.
It makes you feel proud. Oh, hell yeah.
Easily. Now, why did you choose documentary style and not a film? And this was your first film that you directed?
My second feature. The first one is a really super low budget suspense thriller that people love to hate, and they love to. What I tell you, they love to hate and love to steal as more than they love to hate.
Okay, yes.
Just pirated across the web.
Yeah.
And so this is my second feature. This one's a doc and documentary because we have a real life human being here.
Yes, we do.
That we wanted to track, and real life human beings that we were telling personal stories about. Yeah.
And how was he to work with? I mean, he's a character I can tell already, but how's he to work with?
He's great. Yeah, I think that. Not to talk about you like you're not here, but
he's not here. Tell you about here.
I feel like Ron reacts to people operating out of integrity, and if you can do that, then you're
good with him.
Yeah, and I forgot what I was gonna say.
What was she like to work with since you came to her?
Good. I mean, like I said, the concept they came back with. I enjoyed it. I mean, I enjoyed working with them. I mean, it's a lot of people. I tell you, man, I send them packing. You know, so because it's just the people. They just think you can be bought and sold, and it's kind of insulting.
It's not kind of. It is.
Yeah, well, I was a guy. I mean, I'm a fashion designer. That's what I've done all my life.
Yes.
So, and being black in that industry, being black and doing what I'm doing now, it's like people don't. You're kind of rare-ish, you know. So what I used to do, I used to have appointments, but I'd be outside in overall sweeping the street. And I would see how they would greet me, you know, to let me know what kind of conversation we're going to have and if I'm going to deal with you, you know, because you don't understand that this is just clothes, dude. This is a costume. Right. But you let this say everything about me. It's like I want to do a video so bad. Maybe Delila will do this with me. I want to do a video of who should we be scared of. Who are we scared of? These guys on the corner because they got their pants sagging and they got big clothes, or these guys with these $650,000 suits on in the bank room? I mean, who has done more crime? Nobody, but I've used that. I get suited and booted,
Oh, sure.
and I get straight in.
Yeah.
You know, and I got some jeans on or something, and I say, still neat.
Yeah, no, yeah,
and,
yeah.
and the whole, hey, it's private. There's a, and I was the guy that was in here yesterday, dude. With the very expensive suit on. So it's funny. I actually use that. That's my like social demonstration kind of thing. Like, okay, how you gonna? Just because I got these clothes on, you think that I'm,
Yeah, I've had my last guest was a black opera singer and named H. Warren Sharp. He's a great guy, and I went to one of his performances at a furniture store, and it was kind of funny. So me, like you can imagine, so I'm dressed really nice, and I'm standing by this furniture, waiting for the show to begin, and this chick says, "So how much is the furniture? How much is this table?" And I go, I don't know. She's like, so you don't work here? I'm like, no, I'm here with the talent.
Right.
And meanwhile, he said he had an experience where he got there, and they're like, so you're here to set up the lights? Or something like, oh, you have the flowers or something? He's like,
no.
I'm dressed, I'm the talent.
No, you know who Melanie Hobson is?
Yes, I've heard before.
She married this guy that did this very, very small movie called Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, beautiful black woman
Yes.
who they were going to some event. She tells it in her TED, and her and her friend, and they walk in, and she's a beast.
Yeah.
She's a beast in her own right.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Aerial investment. So she walks in, and she says that immediately, oh my God, okay, to help you have to go into the back. And she directed them to the back of the kitchen.
There you have it. There you have it. Yikes. Like, excuse me, so it never really ends.
This woman runs Chicago,
Right.
And they didn't even, so all they saw was this.
Yeah. Yes, which
So
we all know about that,
Yeah,
obviously.
it still happens, man.
Yes. So I want to show the clip of the film. I believe it's a trailer, and let's go ahead and show that, and then we will continue.
I want to see Delilah's first porn. I mean, her first movie.
Why
Can
are you
we see
picking
a
on me?
clip from that?
What's going on?
Sorry.
Okay, 1 second. This is the clip they sent me. Okay. So now for you, Delila, it's going from acting and dancing, and then you did one feature. Now, what have you learned on your journey as a director?
Yikes. On this last movie, documentary-wise, I learned that you have to open up for people to open up.
Okay.
If you want to really have genuine stories.
Yes.
That you have to give. You can't just take. If you're doing a narrative, there's a different type of giving, but it's you hire people to play the roles for you, and you can be a little bit more introverted and in your head and heady as a director. But as far as a doc goes, it's another story. And that probably before I jump into any other doc, it has to be something that I'm really connected to, because it takes up a huge portion of your life.
Yeah.
Like, you really have to live whatever it is that you're telling a story
So you're
about.
very immersion. You're kind of like an immersion documentary.
For sure. I mean, I guess that there's kind of informational docs that could be of interest, but that's even more linear, and I think takes more work from producers around you, because you're dealing with a lot of research and that type of thing. But yeah, I'm more of a kind of a character-driven documentary style person, and I would probably always opt to live with whoever it is, or very closely with whoever it is that I'm following. Other than that, I mean, it's hard to say. I've learned, growing as a human being, but I think it's interesting working in this industry as a female.
Please, let's talk about that.
And not so much on set. I mean, once I'm working with people, I don't see too many disparities. But now I'm at a place where the doc is finished, and I have a few things that I'm pitching and working on, and I do have support around me, and it's a curious thing. Is it, is this thing, not going because, or is it going you never
because,
know.
Right.
You never quite know, but I have already had the I pitched something
Okay.
that is of pretty big interest where this company wants to, move forward with the project, but they don't want me to, they want
Oh.
like to spend around $20 million on the concept that I pitched.
Wow.
However, they want to use a guy to direct who has a name.
Okay.
But so my argument was, okay, I understand you've got to put money. We are talking about money,
Yeah.
and I have to see their side if I'm going to work with
Right.
them. So I do get it, but I'm thinking, aren't there guys who've done their little indie projects and then they go jump right to
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
the
right,
big
yeah.
budgets? So I'm like, well, we'll get like a great team around me, the most awesome
Thank
DP.
you.
We'll get a great
Right.
stunt group of people and visual effects
Right.
team, and you producers chime in as much as you want. Let's do
Right,
this.
right.
I'm not working by myself,
Right.
and that's not quite enough yet. So I don't know. I mean, is my pitch not good enough? Like I'm still working in that realm because you can't always point the finger and say it's
No, yeah.
somebody else's fault. But there's a sort of a curious kind of a jump that
I understand.
I'm you got to work extra
Extra hard.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, you and I, we chose this profession of sorts, and I came late to it. Obviously, so luckily, I'm very happy that I had a lot of life experience before I came into this, because I think I've been weeping in the corner, eating my hair half the time. I mean, seriously, I'm like, some of the things that I'm like, oh, okay, sure, I mean, that's okay. Now I think we're ready to show the clip. So let's show it.
I'm not a gardener. Let's start there. But it's in our DNA. If you believe some of the fables, like the first job, think about it. The dude was a gardener. Big guy told him to take care of his garden. You asked me how I got into gardening. I was out of work. I had been paying someone to mow my dirt. And I thought, first I can do it myself, and secondly, I can grow food there. And I planted my Eden. It turned out to be paradise on the street. All of a sudden, there was birds I've never seen in this area ever.
December 1st can't get here fast enough. It's gonna be on video demand December 1st, you guys. I can't. That's what
December 1st VOD and also theatrical on demand too, so people can get the movie in any city that they want. So it's a pay and play.
It's playing here on the 3rd at the Independent.
Okay.
The Kitchen bought the whole movie theater, and they're having a party. So
wow, I mean,
it's like $5 tickets too. They just bought it, and they're gonna sell the tickets for $5.
oh,
So
see, that's not bad at all.
7 o'clock, the 3rd at the Independent. So
Very good.
And don't the proceeds from that go to your foundation?
yes,
Or?
goes to the Ron Finley Project. Yes.
Yes, that's good. Oh my God, I'm just watching that. I start getting myself. I'm not gonna be in that feeling already. I'm just so I can't wait to see it. Because gardening really did. I mean, it affected my life in so many ways that I didn't even realize until I became grown, owned my own house, and now have my own garden. I have this huge yard, and I was looking at it going, what can I do with this thing? And people were like, just pave it over, or just like, do the tough Terminators and put all this stuff on rocks. I'm like, I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. I said, I want, and my house on the inside, I have lots of plants inside too. And people were like, how do you grow plants? I mean, I'm like, well, I talk to them, I tend to them. There's things that I do. I talk to my plants.
Yeah.
I talk to them stuff.
When you realize that they are alive, I mean, we forget that.
Mm-hmm.
We forget that that they are energy, just like we
Yes.
are.
Yes.
We forget that we share 50% of our DNA with bananas.
Okay.
These things, the plants are alive. It's just like you see a sunflower,
My
and where's
favorite.
it gonna go? It's gonna go towards the sun. It's gonna bask in the sun. Yeah, they're my favorite. I mean, I plant them. I usually have 150 or more on my corner just because of how they transform people's mind, how they make people, you can see somebody, down, depressed. I mean, even like it's a lot of alcoholism, as you know. And then you don't even know that how many functional alcoholics are around you, and it's sad. But I've had people that they tell me I go out of my way every day to walk by here. And it's like yes, my job is done. I did what I'm supposed to do, but so you can. It's almost impossible for anybody to look at a sunflower and not smile.
Hello.
Yeah, so and I want them there. I mean, we miss that's what I mean. It's not just about food. It's about your whole environment that makes you healthy. It's not just your food. You know, so it's like we need color therapy in these neighborhoods. We need beauty in these neighborhoods, and they're not designed for beauty. So I'll have these people that come by and see this 15-foot sunflower, you know, and they'll break it. They'll just tear it down, stench it out the grass. Or people come by and cut them. Please don't cut the sunflowers. I'll give you one. Grow your own.
Right. Yeah.
But what do? They still cut them. And some people come by and they desecrate the garden because it's almost like you see it. That beauty makes them feel uncomfortable. You know, when they see something beautiful, the first thing you can do, I kill it. You know,
right? No, right. No, right.
Yeah,
Right.
It's like hit it with a rock. You know.
Okay.
You know, so and this is like, again, this is a social experiment for me. This garden is, and how it has transformed people, and how it does affect some people. But we still have this element, man, that it's the whole thing that they weren't raised with this. They weren't raised to love beauty. They weren't raised to appreciate art, and that's what a garden is to me. It's your canvas. It's your art. It's what do you want to show. No one needs to tell you the first brush stroke to put on your painting, do you? So I tell people, well, where should this go? I'm like, I don't know. Where do you want to see it?
Well, you know, it's funny. My grandkids go to an art-based school called Leonardo da Vinci, and it's really great because they let them color their hair.
I know. I've been there.
Yeah,
I did a talk there.
Oh, so they do all kinds. I just love it. And so one of the greatest things was my granddaughter Scarlett and I are very close. She's 10, and for my birthday she gave me plants. I thought it was just sweet. I mean, she's 10 years old. She's like, Papa Jamie, I want you to, you can plant these and stuff.
Chicken coops there.
Yeah, and all kinds of stuff.
They still have the chicken.
I think they do.
Yeah.
And she's so excited about being out there and with her teacher. With the teacher's name. Sorry, teacher. I don't know the name. But my granddaughter's really happy, which makes my daughter happy and me happy. But the fact that she gave me plants as a gift.
Right.
Grandchildren, kids don't do. I mean, they don't do that nowadays. And so I'm so happy for her because I'm like,
give you a blunt.
Oh my God, they aren't old enough for that yet.
There.
That's
but when you know why, Jay? You know, I call what I do gangster gardening. One reason because it's renegade-ish. Yeah. And because you're taking over a system. You're changing a system when you start being self-sufficient and growing your own food. But also it's because of the messages that these kids constantly get. You know, with this rap music. With this misogynistic stuff and this
money,
truffle butter. Like, really, we really want our kids to find out what this is. We really want them having that kind of, we really, what's gangster? What is that gangster? I mean, how many of our kids are in prison because of a lot of these songs, a lot of these stories that are made up that they hear, and they contribute that's what a man does. That's gangster. That's tough. No, dude, the soil is tough. You want to put some work in? Get a shovel, not a gun, not a knife. Get a shovel and some seeds. That's the kind of work we need put in. So we got to change their vernacular on what a gangster, how a gangster builds a community, not destroy it. Because most of the stuff that you hear, it was by design. Yeah. These music industry designed this music. Why can't we hear positive songs on the radio? That's not by design. Right. There's tons of positive.
Oh, tons,
millions of songs.
Bunch of conscious songs out. There's conscious rap out there. Exactly. It didn't go away. Arrested Development back in the '90s. Right. It's still out there. People are doing it.
Even my guy DJ Cable. Look him up. He's a beast. His album's called The Produce Section.
Oh, how fun! Okay.
He's got a song called Brown Rice and Broccoli. So
I like that.
So
he needs to be played on the radio. He needs to be played on the radio. He should be played in the video. That's what we need more of that.
Yeah, and it's terrible. So what we get is these so-called gangsters, and these kids. That's what they get to emulate. So and it's, look at the chain of people who benefit from this behavior. You can't tell me it's not by design.
True. Now, for you, because of mixed race background, how did that play into this film for you? What'd you come out with it? Because you had to grow up with the one side here in Hollywood, one in South Central. Can you expand on that a little bit?
Yeah, I think that there's still a disparity. The property values have gone up all over LA, and it has created more businesses and cool restaurants and all that stuff. But when you go to South LA, it's still very hard to find something quick and easy to eat. And,
That's true.
And
I think that's going to change, though.
The Metro's going through my neighborhood right
No, it
now.
already did. I'm on Exposition.
Oh, okay. So I'm near Crenshaw.
in
So
front of
I
my-
want to tell you about my business, obviously, where I'm at.
So I'm going to cover because I'm at the next station.
Oh, okay.
Literally in front of my house.
Oh, how funny.
So
Okay.
I think it's going to change, D, because of, all of a sudden you're seeing these little skinny white girls with their lattes at 12 noon jogging their dogs with their little teeny dogs.
That's true.
And so it's changing.
it is.
It's going to change. It's like I hear, well, we're going to try to have the neighborhood max out at like 600,000. That's up to you.
Right.
So it's terrible because we're not only have lost our culture. Now we're about to lose our neighborhoods. It's happening again, and you have people. I don't know how do you curtail that. I don't know how, but it's happening, and we're gonna see the cafes. We're gonna say.
Hopefully.
But what I'm trying to tell people is, this is the same neighborhood. It's just these different people here. It's the same streets, the same address, the same house. Okay, so if they can come in here and do this, why can't we do this?
Right.
Why are you forced to leave your neighborhood all of a sudden because you can't afford, the house? It's terrible, man.
And you came into the neighborhood because you're like, I want to shine a light on this, obviously.
Right.
Because you saw the difference.
Right. Well, I wanted to explore myself, coming from like my black dad was gone, so I got brought up by a white mom. So there's a lot of it also has to do with like me exploring my own blackness.
Inner blackness, yeah.
Not that there aren't black folks in Hollywood, but
Or Compton.
Right.
but like
Right.
going to see, around the issue as well, and also as far as like, it's not called homogenized. What's it called what's it called? Gentrification.
Gentrification, yeah.
Oh, it's not
I know. It's like,
right.
I mean, that's something different, but yes.
I was gonna say, I feel like ultimately we want a very green planet, and we want ourselves to all kind of like acclimate together, no matter what color our skin is.
Yes.
I feel like I've always kind of operated as a bridge. I feel like
Okay.
on communication bridge.
Yeah.
And that's what I would hope that would happen. If the property value goes up and people are living black and white together and brown together, that we green our neighborhoods
Exactly.
and do that all at the same time.
Because my neighbors, I don't care who my neighbors are, as long as they take care of their stuff.
Yeah.
And we're in this, again, village mentality, we're in this together.
And schooling I would hope that would improve in South Los Angeles. There's some stuff that really bothers me as far as people having resources to the same things that kids in schools that have higher income bracket. So I'm hoping that my little garden movie, our little garden movie, makes a difference because the property value does go up when you put a garden in the ground. It actually changes how much your property is worth.
Yes, it does.
It does bring the neighbors out.
Right.
People get to know each other because of it. You're spending less money on food. You're eating healthier. You're killing yourself less
Yes.
because you're not eating this stuff.
Our kids are dying.
Yeah.
They're getting diabetes at like 4.
I call it diobesity.
Yeah.
Diabetes.
Yeah, right. Right. But basically, I have cousins. Don't put them on blast. But I have cousins who they shouldn't be the way they shouldn't look the way they look at the ages they are.
But they don't. But it's hard, man, because this food that they're eating, they have become this food. It's changed the molecular structure of who they are, and I think a lot of people don't realize that.
They don't. So how do we? I mean, this is okay. So this is one way of doing this is.
The other way is if you change the soil, you change the community.
I like that.
Compost rules. Compost is the most sexiest thing on the planet.
Hey, I also take my eggshells.
Everything.
I mean, I repurpose stuff all the time.
Hair.
Yeah.
I mean, people. It's like if it's organic material, it's going in my compost.
Yeah.
Period.
But see, again, I learned from my grandmother. That's what this films me great.
That's
We
funny.
could get this.
Well,
out
what's
there.
interesting is that I try to replicate the forest in my garden. So Mother Nature doesn't produce any waste. everything she produces is a resource.
Yeah, right.
So we don't see it like that. I tell you, a leaf falls for a reason in a particular season. It's by design. Okay, it's a beautiful design. This leaf has multiple functions. Okay, first of all, it gives the tree energy. Okay, then when the season changes, it falls on the ground. It's not debris. That's a mulch now. So the water percolates down. It just doesn't go down there. This because the leaves are shielding the water. Okay, and then what does it turn to? It turns into soil.
Yeah.
So and then it repeats, and then
I love it.
You're such
repeats.
a poet.
You are.
Really? Oh.
You are. I love it. I mean, just I got 8 million. I love this. So you have 8 million sound bites. I want to like cut every sound bite you say and just put it out there.
No, I mean when you watch. I mean, I'm serious when I say compost changed my life.
No, I believe it.
Yeah, really. It let me know that nothing ever dies ever. It's an energy transfer. Period. You know. So I mean, and so do we die? Or is it do our energy?
We're energy. We're energy.
Yeah, we're energy.
I just want to
and bacteria.
Yeah. That too.
A gang of bacteria.
I tell people that I don't believe in closure.
Right.
There's no closure. It's just a cycle. We just kind of continually.
But when you look at the forest, I mean, when you look, who's gardening in the forest?
Right.
So how do we have this beautiful soil? How do we have? No one's even touching it. You don't have some elves in the garden with hoes and shovels messing up the soil. You know. Yeah. So it's I mean you when we look, we see how simple this really is. You know, it's but yeah, I try to plant like Mother Nature, man, like the forest does, replicate the forest. You know.
I could talk to you guys for another 3 or 4 hours.
We don't have that kind of time.
We don't. I'm like, this is. I mean, this is seriously life-changing stuff for me. I mean, I'm dead serious. I know we joke around stuff, but this is really. It's been an honor.
It is. But I mean, I think
an honor. It's an honor.
It is. We. I mean, I'm honored to be here and for the word to get out, and I'm honored and by the piece that we've been able to put together, and the people that it has reached around the world. The film hasn't, but people are seeing it. Like, how do we get this in Denmark? How do we get this?
Oh, how fun!
Yeah, how do we get this in Germany? You know, I got major, crazy fans.
Wow, that's great.
And like in the UK, man, and they're like, no, we want the film now. You know?
And because this is something that can transfer to the south side of London or Detroit or Bronx. So, I mean, this is something that's not just South Central Los Angeles.
No. Well, it's worldwide.
Right. Worldwide. Now, and I just want to briefly mention John Legend's Get Lifted Company is part of this, correct?
Yeah, he executive produced the movie and
that's very cool.
Came on and saw an earlier cut and got behind it, support it.
Yeah,
very good.
John's great.
Love some John.
No, he's the truth. I mean, it really is.
Now, I always ask my guests 2 questions at the end of every show that I do. So you have to answer. Unfortunately, you have to answer them briefly because I would love to hear some of your intimate answers to some of these questions.
Sex.
Yes. Okay. Here we go.
That's the answer.
That's the answer. There we go. Okay, plant, gardening, and sex. Those are 2 things. I like those, and some whiskey. Okay. So this is for both you guys. What word should we take out of our vocabularies? Start with you.
No.
Like that?
Hope.
Okay. What word do you think we should add back into our vocabularies or add to our vocabularies? I know people. That's the one people are like.
Integrity.
There you go. I'll like yours. Okay.
I don't have one yet. I will email you.
Do that. No, seriously. Okay. What she's gonna do is she's gonna email it to me, and I will post it on the Breaking Into Facebook page. Okay. I will do that. No, seriously, I'll do that. I had someone else doing the same thing. They were like, "That's a good question. I want to give you a good answer." So you can email me anytime and tell it or whatever, pass it through to whoever, and I will post it. Actually, I'll post it with your picture and a link to the film.
With just the word.
No, and a link to the film. Right. And I'll say the question.
Right.
So I just put every guest, so that my people know that I do this question for everybody. But thank you guys for being on here. It is an absolute honor and pleasure.
Ours.
And I completely can't wait to see this film. It's December 1st, VOD, and you said in theatrical VOD also?
Yes.
And you said on the 3rd of December it's playing at the Independent. Downtown. Ron Finley, Delila Vallot. And you can follow us on Facebook at Breaking Into, Twitter, Black Hope LA. You can follow me with the hashtag Breaking Into, and I will be posting links to this show, of course. We have a bunch of other shows on Black Hollywood Live. Thank you for joining us, and have a great Thanksgiving.
Yay!
From executives Kevin Undergaro, Dario Kristen, Tiana Hobson, and the entire BHL staff, we would like to thank you for supporting Black Hollywood Live, the first online broadcast network dedicated to African American entertainment. For questions and comments, contact us. info@blackhollywoodlive.com. Like us on Facebook, tweet us, or Instagram us at BHL Online. And I am the official voice of Black Hollywood Live, Scipio. Instagram me at KingXOBay. Thanks for tuning in.
Hollywood Redefined.
The views expressed here are those of the host only and do not necessarily reflect the views of BHL or its owners or principals.